up your friends and we'll take a walk. Get ready for another Off the Clock Talk.
Yay!
Hello and welcome to another fun-filled episode of Off the Clock Talk with more people coming. They're still on break, so god damn it, oh, shit, guys. Anyway,
Don't remember.
where we like to ask each other's questions and figure out what was going on in their mind throughout the game. And I think this episode has been quite fulfilling of that.
Fuck, there's so much. There's so much.
So anyway, when our players return and DM.
Hello.
Hello!
What? I drank 10 of these? Really? Fuck.
Anyway, who would like to start with the question?
I have a question for those who are present.
Yeah.
What were your favorite moments from game tonight? And if you had any least favorite moments from game, feel free to add those as well.
Oh, least favorite.
I mean, start with the favorite. Let's go,
Let's start off good.
let's start strong.
Yeah, let's start strong. And work our way downhill.
There it is, hidden behind the fucking
I would have to say
Who the fuck put
probably
it there?
the fact
Why?
that he dropped.
Because it was on the table.
Thank you.
I think my favorite has to be the fact he dropped the fact that Lily is being a sex.
Oh, drop the fact that Lily was a sack.
Yeah.
That's
That
very
was
good
nice.
to know.
And the fact that she actually had a tattoo that nobody knew about.
Are you taking off or what, dude?
Yeah.
Okay. Get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. Fucking working on it. Jeez. Hey, what the fuck? You gonna take me out of the screen right then? Yeah, dude.
Dude.
Put me back in the screen. Like immediately. Put me back in the screen.
Oh my
Right
god,
fucking
man.
now. Do
No.
as I command.
See, you're there. You're there in that bottom
Jeez,
one.
I'm over there. Alright. I'll look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows only his crotch.
Hurry up.
It's been a lot of fun.
There we are. There's his face.
I can't save this,
Hello.
so I'm gonna go. Shut up. Fuck. Trying to say stuff
How
here.
about you comb your beard? How about you comb your beard?
I combed my beard twice before I even came to game. Fuck you. What do you know about growing a beard?
Anyway,
I
goodbye.
need to comb mine.
Goodbye, everyone.
Have a good night, man. Drive
It's been a lot of
safe.
fun. Yeah, so much out.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Likewise.
Later, dude.
Take it easy, Jake.
Bye, everyone. I, for one, my favorite of session, my favorite moment of session. Is it up there? Yeah, it's up there.
I mean, look at the camera on the laptop.
I mean, seriously, there's a camera right there.
Oh, is it on the laptop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. I was just glad since the inception of this character was to talk to her mother and gain some fucking some concept as to where she came from that I actually gained that. There's more questions than ever, but I got some clarity and it's nice. It's nice.
That is.
It's really nice. I also like how Lily stood up for me and was like, "Hey, are you seriously gonna ignore her right now?" That felt good. I like that. That felt good.
You're welcome.
All
You're welcome.
all positive notes.
Ah,
I appreciate
That
that.
was sweet.
good feels.
Least favorite moment of session?
Are you going or what?
I don't know. I don't really have one. It was pretty much all just fantastic. I had a lot of fun.
Right on, man.
Oh my god.
Glad you enjoyed.
Right.
Glad you enjoyed.
So anyway,
Have a good one, dude.
yeah. Likewise. Everybody have fun.
Take care.
Catch you
Farewell.
later.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Hopefully tomorrow.
Least favorite.
Nick, Robert, Ryan, I love you. Oh, Nick and Ryan, I love you. Robert is
All right,
invited to
yeah,
love
okay.
you, girl.
Jeez.
Hey.
Oh my god.
Kidding.
Come on.
Kidding.
We're
Bye.
having a show. Go away.
For real, bye.
For
I'm
real,
sorry.
bye. Jeez.
I'm waiting for her to come back in. I'm just waiting for it.
No, he's gone.
Oh. He pulls the car back in the yard.
hey.
Anyway. Least
what about
favorite
you,
moment?
Arthur? What was your favorite?
So, I have a very active imagination, and when LaFay was pulling something out of her robe, and Nick was just like, "Oh, it's the vibrator. Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to do that." Like, I saw that in my mind, and I just fucking lost it. Like, that's why we were all fucking laughing during that.
Oh fuck, that's what that was. I totally missed that line about the vibrator, and I just like we're all sitting over here like, what the fuck are you guys?
Trying to have a serious conversation.
Not to interrupt the fact that y'all were having a moment. I just imagine she's just like reaching through the rope, just like pulls out a vibrator, it's like, here you go. Oops, wrong thing. You try to reach back in. And then,
I'm sure someone of noble status would carry that at all times. Yes.
Hey, it's a stressful job. You gotta, relieve that tension any way you can.
and she don't have no husband or anything, so. Unless she has some sort of consort in the back. That's just the thing I thought about. It's just like, she has no husband. God knows how old she is. The only child she has is Sundari. When was the last time she's been with anyone?
When was the last time she felt the warmth of a man's touch?
So just like a wand of vibration or something. Wrong thing. Pulls out the mirror. Here you go.
I don't think I have a least favorite. This was pretty good.
Just some spots that seem to take forever for everybody to decide what to do. I think.
Yeah, that's
Like with
pretty
That's
characteristic. Yeah.
like I said, if that's the only downside and that's the usual, then like there's no real downside to it.
I think my favorite moment of session was kind of going above everyone's head and taking care of shit at the keep.
That was pretty cool.
And yeah,
That was pretty cool.
and no one hated me for it. Zio might have. If she
Yeah,
was.
Zio did. Zio was like, "Hey, that's a good job. We support you."
Yeah.
Lily's just like,
I
"I
mean-
wish I could go."
I mean, if Zia was here, she might have been a little pissed off.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I guess we'll never know. I will text her about that.
Yeah, I'll try to fill her in too.
Yeah. Least favorite
And
moment was just how many times we got off topic towards the end.
Yeah. That was my fault. My bad.
I mean that happens.
It happens, but
Do we
Just
do we
took
want
away-
to try to avoid it? Yes. Can we completely avoid it? Obviously not.
I mean, you're kind of supposed to mitigate it as much as possible, and I know you have a lot on your plate, which is why I try to help.
Oh, every once in a while I can't help myself.
I understand, but I'd
I did
like
try
to
to make
maintain more on the game than other kinds of shit.
I can appreciate that.
We have off the clock talk for a reason where we can go out of topic and kind of bullshit.
Yeah, that's true. It's just, I mean, sometimes you get that moment and it's like, oh man, this isn't. I gotta say what I'm gonna say now because it's not gonna make any sense if I wait an hour to do it, you know. And I don't know.
4 hours.
Honestly, if I'm being serious, I'm happy every session that we don't get bogged down for half an hour on Monty Python and the Holy Grail quotes. Like that used to kill D&D sessions when I was like first starting. Like that was like as soon as we got started quoting the Holy Grail, like it was like okay,
Oh, yeah.
this session's done for the night. This is what we're doing for the rest of the night. It's just like going through the whole fucking movie, apparently, quote by quote, and
Well, that's
How
why I
many
could not
times
do
can I
a
say
paladin
this line and it'll
movie,
still be funny?
because I'd be quoting just nothing but Mighty Python with it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, those kinds of references get lost on me.
oh, dude, it's great. It's great.
What about you, Jake?
What about me?
Favorite, least favorite?
Ooh,
Oh yeah, least favorite.
oh,
I think you're the only one that hasn't spoke.
always a good question. Always nice when someone asks me a question. I would say that my favorite moment of session was. I mean, it's kind of the thing that I always enjoy about session, which is when I'm able to subvert your expectations and take things in a direction that you weren't anticipating, and you know, just kind of turn everything that you had thought on its head. Jacob was like I had mentioned to him on one of our breaks here about to Jacob about Sundari, was that Sundari's whole quest had been, I need to find my mother, I need to know, you know, who I come from, I need to know my history, I need to meet my mother. And Sundari finally gets the chance to meet her mother, and as soon as she does, you know, the next question that's raised is like, okay, I know who my mother is, now who the fuck is my father? You know, like, her entire purpose was to find and meet her mother, and it's only when she accomplished that purpose that she discovered that that's not what she wanted to know, or that's not what she thought she wanted to know.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did that a little bit with Lily, too, by being like, oh, so yeah, you know that thing you thought that this was for? That's not actually what it is. It's actually this other thing. And that's always fun for me, to be able to take the game and put these unexpected twists on it that make my players have to sit down, think, reassess the situation, reevaluate, and come to another, you know, a different conclusion as to what they need to do, what's the course of action, you know, what is their goal. And so that's always fun for me when I can, and I feel like we got some like backstory stuff done too. I like to try to do backstory stuff with players. I feel like every player has, you know, one backstory quest that should be, you know, this is what their character wants to do. This is their character's, like, quest, essentially. And then I also like to, you know, try to come up with a secondary, like, this is the quest for the character that the character doesn't know relates to them yet. And it's only when they hit a certain point in the game that they realize that this has been set up. And they're like, oh, shit. My quest isn't to find my mother, my quest is to find my father, or some shit like that, you know? So honestly, I feel like I got to do 2 of those tonight, which is really awesome. And I feel like we've probably got another 1 or 2 of those in the works in the next few weeks, depending on how things go. And so I'm really looking forward to that as well. As for the least favorite part of game, I don't think that I had one tonight either. I felt pretty happy with everything.
Fair enough.
We got off topic a little bit, you know, here and there, but for the most part, I feel like we kept on it and that we covered a lot of ground, and there was a lot of good role play. Something that I know a few of our players have been kind of missing for a while, considering it's been really combat heavy. And so it's really nice to be able to to relax those combat roles and focus more on the role play and advancing the story.
Just nice every once in a while.
It is nice.
Excellent. Well, I had a lot of questions for Jacob, but he took off already.
What a bastard.
Yeah.
I think my second favorite would have been when I stuck it to the Sun Clan, King Solar. I was like, hey, you're not in charge of me. She is. Shut your pie. You're not the only monarch in the room. Thank you.
Something I'm sure he hated to be reminded of.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure. But Lily don't like the Sun Clan right now. Period.
That's fair.
That
That's
kind
understandable.
of brings me to a question I have for you, Lily. Is like what stems your hatred for the Sun Clan so much, other than they're not your clan?
Oh,
Like
my hatred for the Sun Clan.
Like I personally, I wasn't really questioning him up until everyone else started questioning him, and then his tone kind of changed.
Yeah.
Well, didn't we find out that the Sun Clan is behind most of this?
Well, a lot of Sun Elves.
Sun
were,
Elves.
But supposedly the Red Hand was there. But we didn't know that at the time.
Which
So
could
we
be,
saw that.
yeah, which could, very well just be like a group of misfit elves, because,
They had Night Elves.
it wasn't necessarily all, yeah, exactly. It wasn't necessarily all Sun Elves that were present in that dungeon.
Well, which I really did forget, that fact that Octavius is a Moon Elf. But, no, yeah, because most of them were Sun Elves, so Lily's just like, okay, Sun Elves, there's a bunch of Sun Elves. The Sun Clan has to have something to do with it. I think she is young, she is brash. Yeah. So she's quick to jump to some conclusions if she thinks she has enough proof of her own. Regardless if she actually does have proof.
Right.
Okay.
Which I think is a character flaw for her that she needs to get over, and probably something that she'll learn to deal with eventually. Or it's going to cause her a lot of grief,
Alright.
probably at some point. Which it's probably going to do sooner than later. But it is what it is.
Alright.
Oh, my question for the DM.
Ooh.
How long will it take a dragon to burn down that forest that they live in?
Holy shit. The whole forest?
Yeah.
I
Well, at
mean,
least all the elven cities in there.
it depends on the dragon, but I mean, if we're talking about the scourge, a week and a half, 2 weeks tops.
Oh, that's good. And how far away is the castle from the woods?
Depends how you're traveling there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like distance-wise. Like, how long would it take him to fly there?
And
Distance
burn
wise.
every city down on the way. Like,
And burn everything down all the way.
Distance-wise.
Get away.
Are we talking like the distance on the roads? By road?
Yeah. Oh, by flight, straight line.
Like as the
I mean, he has
crow
to-
flies?
Because I'm pretty sure if he's going to burn down every city along the way, it's going to take up some time as well.
Oh man, you're looking at like 700 or 800 miles.
Nice. And he travels. Oh, I think they travel 250 feet per 6 seconds.
Oh my
I don't know
god.
how fast that is.
That's pretty fucking fast.
That's really fast.
That's an ancient red dragon's flight speed, 250
That's
per round.
2,500 feet per minute, which would be a lot per hour.
Well, that's almost half a mile per minute. Well, that's a little over half a mile per minute.
25,000 times 6 would be 150,000 feet per hour.
How much is a mile?
Mile is 5,200 and something feet.
Yeah.
87. I wanna say.
87, yeah, that sounds right. So take 150,000 divided by 5,287.
That's a lot of miles.
5,800
In a minute.
and what?
5,287.
5,200. Oh,
That's a lot of miles in a minute.
yeah.
That's an hour.
Oh, an hour?
How many miles?
Hold on. I unaccidentally hit a button.
I feel like this is like borderline metagaming.
A little bit.
It is, but I just want to see how long it would take if Lily did.
That's what off the clock
Like,
talk
fuck
is for,
you.
though. It's for metagaming.
Divided by.
The thing is right now, Lily, you do have the ability to teleport, essentially.
That's 28.419. If you divide, so that's 28 miles.
So yeah, like 28 and a half miles an hour. Which is a lot. That's more than a hex an hour that it can travel. Which means that it would take it a couple days to fly from Dark Pine Vale to Karen if that's what it wanted to do.
That's if it was to chase straight after Lily and not
Yeah.
wreak untold destruction upon everyone along the way.
I mean, yeah, you count the destruction along the way, you factor that in, and you're looking at, a
Probably.
couple weeks, maybe tops, like week or two, fortnight tops.
True.
Okay.
So, Nick.
Yeah.
So, like, is this it for you? Like, because I don't think any of us were expecting you to join tonight.
No, well, I don't know. I wasn't expecting to join either. Like I said, I learned at 10 o'clock last night
Right.
that I was going to be here. So I didn't even know about it. So they was like, yeah, you're not coming in tomorrow. Your line ain't running. And I was like, well, shit. Because I was planning to have Nicole, like I said, I asked Jake if Nicole could run Lily for me. Because I know since Robert was here, he's going to be running the Stargray. I didn't know what Tyler was going to be doing with Salar. So I figured she could run Lily if she wanted to.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you were here to do that and to play Lily rather than put it on Nicole's plate. I'm sure she would have done it, and she probably would have done a really good job. But I just know as soon as I would have asked her, she would just like really. Why me? Sort of thing. Like, well, like, how does he wanted you to play him? Like, I feel like you should. It's a compliment, But anyway, yeah. Thankfully, it didn't come to that.
Yeah. Well, plus I think she could have been the most authentic with her character than anything. Just that, like, plus the way she plays Zia, I think she could have played Lily pretty much the same way, and it came out to be the same anyway.
Robert does have a lot of knowledge about your character. I think a lot more than most of us do. So
I find Robert to be very straightforward on all of that.
Maybe as like a player, yes, but like I said, he does know probably more about your character than a lot of us do.
True enough. You know. Sorry to cut you off. Didn't mean to.
You can't cut me off.
I do think
Okay.
Nicole would have been a good choice to play Lily. For the reasons you were saying, Nick, I think that Nicole probably would have played the character as true to what you have envisioned.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant. If it was
Yeah.
like any other time, I think Tyler or Robert could have probably played Lily perfectly.
But
But
for
just
like,
for
yeah,
that serious moment,
pure role play, yeah, you're right.
I think it would have gone great. But like I said, didn't have to, and
Yeah,
I'm sad that
thankfully,
she's
Which is great.
and yeah, it
just
was
sad she had
had
my bad.
yeah. It's all for the best, as seeing as she had to leave early tonight. I'm really glad that we had you here tonight for that reason, because that would have been terrible, because then we would have been down not one player, but two players when she had to
Yeah.
leave. So it's really nice to be able to have you here for that.
Plus, I'm go ahead.
Oh, no, you go ahead. It's a totally different thought.
Oh, well, I was just about to say, being it was a very important important scene for Lily, also, being that she could deal with her backstory and everything.
Right. And that's another reason why I wanted all of the players to be here tonight, just because I realized that this was probably going to be a very pivotal session in terms of the information that was given, and if certain questions aren't asked, then those are answers that can't be given, and it's information that the players are essentially robbed of just because they weren't available to be here tonight. And so that's one of the reasons why I was really happy that we did have everyone here tonight. It might be that, when we come down the road and we have other players who need to miss session for other reasons, that we're able to continue. It really depends on the situation, though. To anyone who's watching here, specifically,
Yeah.
we always try our best to play this session every night if we can, but it's not always in the cards, and sometimes we have to do different stuff because of really important sessions that come up, and we want all of the players to be here for those sessions so that no opportunities are missed and everyone can really feel like they are getting what they're owed out of the game, so to speak.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, anyway, speaking of players being out, next week is it for me until I get back. So I don't mind if you guys keep playing, but like if it's gonna be like really important shit, then I would like you to not like. But
until
I'll
you
leave it up
get
to you
back
guys.
to here.
Yeah,
So, oh god, you're gonna be gone for like a month.
Hold on, let me
Well,
see.
if we get into such a heavy combat thing as we did last time with these undead, then that's going to be a good 3 or 4 weeks anyway.
Well,
man.
the
Well,
25th and the 1st, so only like I'll be out for 2 weeks, possibly 3, depending on if everything goes according to plan.
I think next week it will probably not be so critical to have everybody here for that session, and I think that we could probably manage to work through that down a player or two without anyone feeling displaced or like they've been cast aside or forgotten. There's definitely, I mean, this is definitely like we're nearing the climax of this story arc, though, and so we'll hit a point where I would definitely want everybody to be here within the next week or two. So we'll have to see where that goes, and then just try to plan accordingly.
Right. But yeah, I'm good for next week. But
Right on.
Okay.
We might be doing more sewer runs in the near future.
Yeah, sewer runs.
Maybe.
We could also figure out some other kinds of streams we could do.
Yes, we can.
Maybe.
Some gamage or
It'll be interesting.
whatever.
Unless Tyler wants to run something. A one shot.
I got nothing planned. Unless you guys want to play a Dark Souls run.
What's the Dark Souls one?
Dark Soul, it's a game that I started making. It's based off of the game Dark Souls.
Oh yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Yeah. I think I showcased it once to the stream a while back, and we didn't even get to the first boss. They were close. They were close. They're one room away.
But we just kept dying against those skeletons. So, you know how it is.
Such
Yeah.
as Dark Souls. And I have made a lot of modifications to it that I would need to run by all of you before I am comfortable actually running it.
Duncan?
That was I asked a friend of mine to come by and see us play tonight. 'Cause he has guard duty. And I was wondering if that guy was Duncan or not. So I was like, hopefully he's still watching. I was like, hey, Duncan, is that you? Hey. Never got a response back.
Yeah. Let's see. I feel like I have a question for Arthur.
Okay.
Kind of about score and what you had learned tonight. Like, do you really, I don't know, especially like trying to talk to him as a potential equal, like,
well, it
Is
wouldn't be as equals. It would be as like Arthur would go into it as like speaking to his like grandfather.
His great grandfather.
Great grandfather.
yeah.
So you kind of.
But all the stuff that I found out about it, really kind of shook him a little bit, and so now he's more afraid than anything else. That's why I was like,
So what kind of...
yank Billy up, like.
So how were you feeling about it before that information then? Before you were feeling afraid, how were you feeling about that confrontation?
You know, he didn't really know what to think. It's more of the more information he gathered, then that's kind of how he thinks about it now.
Gotcha. Was beforehand, would that have been like a confrontation that you would have been comfortable going in by yourself?
Maybe.
Maybe? What is the maybe dependent on?
I hadn't like really thought about it. Like,
It's kind of one of those things you only think about like maybe a session or two before.
yeah, I suppose, but
I mean, you must have something in mind, though, some sort of expectation for the confrontation with Scorvendir.
well, he didn't really know. He was following a vision. Like, he didn't really know how it was going to go, and now that he knows that it's a thing and it's happening, he's like afraid of it.
Okay.
So it became a reality, and now he's like, oh shit, do I really want to do this?
Would Arthur be prepared to potentially kill his great grandfather?
Okay, just to set the record straight, I'm pretty sure it's only great.
We will definitely
But-
take that into consideration, but don't be surprised if we just string a bunch of unnecessary greats in there for, effect.
But no, he
But 6 grandfathers ago.
everything that he read about him said that his great grandmother had killed him when they fought. And then he has this vision and hears these voices and just wanted to see if it was real.
So, what you're saying is that wasn't Arthur's plan was to go and actually speak with him. It was to actually just find out.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Well, Beam, I think you nailed a third backstory tonight.
Well,
Well,
you wait and
Well,
see.
I wouldn't say. I wouldn't say that. Like,
Neither would I. Another 3 or 4 sessions down the road, we'll see what happens with this, and then
What I
maybe
mean-
I'll be able to peg that one on my.
what I
my-
mean necessarily, I guess, is that you are affecting decisions with another player.
That, I mean, well, yeah, in that sense, yeah, I guess you would say that. But, I mean, if you look at it that way, I would have, touched on everybody's plate tonight because everybody seemed like they had different ideas about how the party should progress forward,
I didn't.
well, I would say it's not like that because, he wants like some sort of revenge, but he doesn't feel like he's powerful enough to do it. And the fact that he met with the Knights of the Ebon Cloth and they were going to where he had this vision, like he just kind of strung along. And now it's a reality and he's not quite sure how he wants to handle it.
Okay. So, yeah,
His biggest thing is the Knights of the Ebon Cloth and becoming knighted.
Yes, I feel
Yeah.
united. Yeah. I love
Now,
that role play with your character. Yes, I'm a knight. I'm a knight of the Ebon Cloth. Can you believe it?
drinks on me, I was just knighted.
now Lily's wondering when she's gonna get knighted now. Everybody's getting knighted but me. We're handing out wings.
Fucking cool.
So yeah, when I was saying that about affecting everybody's decisions and where they wanted to go, I was just mainly talking about because it seemed there was a moment there, close to the end of session tonight where the party seemed like they were a little bit split on what they wanted to do. Some people wanted to stay here in Dark Pine Vale until this whole situation had been resolved, while others wanted to return back to Caer Rend and deal with that problem first. And honestly, I'm just so happy that I'm able to create these kinds of problems that you guys have to face and tackle as a group, because I don't know, it's just fascinating for me to just place these these problems in front of you and then just ask the question like, well, which door are you going to open? Which way are you going to go? Which threat are you going to try to solve first? And there's always conflicting answers. The party always disagrees. Like, it's never 100% we're doing this. There's always at least one person, if not more, who want to do something else. And honestly, these aren't the only 2 quests on the party's plate at the moment. They have several other problems that
That's pretty much how it's always been, though.
have been sitting on the
That
back.
is- That is the thing. Everybody's got their own personal quest, and then there's the actual main quest that everybody attaches to and rolls with.
And then that clock, is just always fucking ticking and going around, and you got to really prioritize and try to focus and buckle down so that you can, complete this thing without this getting out of hand, and so you're able to jump back to this, and, meanwhile, keeping this from simmering over, and it's a lot of fun for me just seeing what you guys do, what you decide is the most pressing matter at hand.
I think Sailor was always kind of like set because in, taking care of his clan before anything, I don't think that was necessarily an issue with him and deciding to want to go back to Karen.
And that's really good to have such a strong motivation for your character. It may, create some conflict within the party, be based on what you want to do versus what they want to do. But personally, I think that's fantastic for roleplay because you are playing very true to your character. I'm from this area. These are where my people are. This is where my biggest concern is this threat that is right on their doorstep, so to speak.
Definitely.
It's right there.
The last time that we have played the Tales of Nordia game, which is what I'm calling it now.
Tales of Nordia.
And yeah, that definitely came up with Sailor and Zeot at one point is that conflict. Like, this is your keep, it's in my area, and if you're not going to do something about it, then I will. And I think that's why Sailor kind of made the decisive decision to go back there and start preparing troops and armies and getting ready for that fight. Disregarding everything else for the moment.
Yeah, I think that was a good call to do that.
It was.
And seeing as though you can teleport now, like, that opens up, like, a lot of doors for us.
Right?
Actually, your son's what gave me the idea to break Octavius out of prison. I was just going to send him to the fort and just have him, like, kind of stay there to help protect the fort. Kind of like exile him, but use him for our benefit as well.
Right. That's...
Yeah, you can't go back because they'll kill you. Secondly, we can actually use you for something. So
that being said, there's a reason Tyler didn't accept the former slave's offer to join him on his journey. The party does not have very good luck with keeping NPCs alive. It's kind of a running joke.
It really is.
Well, even if Octavius dies, I personally, as a player, don't care. I really don't.
As a player, I don't give a shit.
But since I made him so attached to Lily, Lily cares, and that means I'm trying to do everything that Lily would do.
Right.
To help him out.
And that's very pragmatic, in both regards of, like, you as the player saying, I don't really give a shit. He's just an NPC. Who cares if he dies? But being able to, relate to how your character views the world and say, oh man, this Lily likes this guy a lot, like, and she's not gonna just stand by and watch him get executed. But you as a player is just like, That shit cracks me up.
It comes full circle to what Arthur said earlier, or what we talked about with Arthur earlier. Was the right thing would be to leave him in prison and just give up on him.
Right.
That would be a lot less headaches for us, and we could just take the shortcut and just expedite this.
Right.
But then again, the right thing for me would just be to sacrifice Lily and save a whole bunch more people just by losing the one.
Right. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, right?
So,
Yeah.
seeing what that is, we're going to break that and say the needs of the one outweigh the
Okay, here's an interesting question. Is I guess how is everyone feeling about, Lily being the sacrifice? Like we barely know her.
That is a good question. I actually had a similar question. I'll let you guys answer this one before I pose my next one, if it's still relevant.
Sailor's kind of grown attached to Lily, and so I think he'd be saddened, and she she's not gonna die on his watch. I think at this point.
Okay, so Sailor wouldn't just be saddened; he would actually fight to
Save
keep
her life.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
What
does-
about you, Arthur?
Yeah. How does Arthur feel?
That's a great question.
I just imagine he did a Blazing Saddles moment where he's like, "You're on your own."
It kind of did seem like that at one point during the conversation with LaFay. Is that like whatever. And I guess that's kind of where he started, as Arthur started wavering on what you should do if you were to meet Score.
Go ahead.
I don't know. It's one of those moral quandaries. Like, she's helped us out in battle and tested her mettle with us, and like he doesn't think or feel that like it's the right thing to do, but he thinks it's like the thing to do to save so many more people and not have this force unleashed upon the world.
Right. So it's not the best. It's not the right thing to do, but it may be the best thing to do.
Right.
The greater good.
The greater good.
The greater good. It's not the right. It's the
For
greater
the greater good.
The greater
That-
good.
good.
The
That
greater
reference I
good.
understand.
Do you?
Yes. Don't know what movie it's from.
Oh my god.
Hot Fuzz.
Then yeah, then you don't get it.
They played it in Supernatural.
Well, in Hot Fuzz they do that. They have a bunch of cultists
Oh, is it
guys
Hot
that do
Fuzz?
And
everything
you say
the
it's for the greater good, and then all of them are just like, no greater
greater
good.
good.
No greater good.
Is it Hot Fuzz?
It's Hot Fuzz.
I
Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, directed by Edgar Wright.
actually do enjoy that movie.
It's awesome.
It's a pretty good
It
movie.
is cool.
So
It
good.
is. As for me, personally,
Yeah, I wanna
feeling
know
about
your
Lily
opinion.
being sacrificed. I mean, me and Jake have talked about what the mark could actually mean. It's never been written in stone that this is what the mark actually is.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a MacGuffin at this point.
It kind of
it's
was,
just-
yeah.
It's just a thing. It's never set in stone what it actually is. So tomorrow it could actually be, well, actually, LaFay lied to you, and tomorrow it's actually just some tattoo you wear, and they're just using it to mind you.
That happens to Blossom.
you yeah.
And that's just how it would be. It's just that would be just something I'd have to roll with. It doesn't actually mean anything.
So you are right in a lot of regards about it being a MacGuffin, and I was reading through Like, I had to scroll so far through the text history just to like get back near the top when we first started discussing your character to like read through some of that stuff. But I did that today before session, and I was reading over a bunch of that stuff, and that is what kind of led me to the being like, okay, I think I know finally what this is gonna be. And again, it kind of goes back to the subverting player expectations, because although it had never been like laid down in stone, I feel like we had talked a bit about it being some sort of like a marriage agreement or a marriage pact, and that is kind of where it was, sitting at, somewhere in there for the most part. But then I was reading some of those earlier texts that we had with each other, and I decided, you know what? It would be a lot more interesting if it was like this instead. And then how do I account for the,
Yeah, the jump.
yeah,
Well,
like,
I believe we started out as just a pact. It was just a curse tattoo that just made her do whatever her uncle wanted her to do.
right,
And then as we went along, we were like, well, that's a bit dark. Maybe we should make it like something else that pushed her forward. So we started talking about the fact that maybe it should just be a marriage. It's the reason why she wants to try and escape, other than just be like a mind controlling tattoo. It would have some actual reason to benefit not only the controller, but even if Lily fails, she's not just gonna die. She's just gonna be suffering for forever.
right.
So it was a little bit less darker and bleak than other just a mind control device. But I do
Yeah.
like the fact that it's
Yeah.
a sacrifice because that's really dark for her. But then again, she's really had a dark childhood anyway. It's not too much of a stretch just to be the lamb, if you will.
Right. I totally get that. And a lot of that decision again came from just trying, and that's what I'm always trying to do is to think about what you as the player are expecting to happen, and then try to take the exact same circumstances that are surrounding your situation and then come to a different conclusion, one that you weren't expecting, so that you say, oh shit, I never even thought about that, but based on all of the, information that I have, that also makes sense, and holy crap, that's something, yeah, I never thought about that. That's terrifying, and in a sense, it raises the stakes. I feel like it simplifies Lily's plot a little bit, as opposed to, worrying about this suitor and her uncle, in some other place. It's a little easier to say, well, that was a fabrication from your parents to make Lily, feel not as threatened as she might otherwise if she knew that she was due to be sacrificed to a dragon. It just...
Well, yeah, I feel you, and that's something a parent would do. Be like, just not tell her straight up that she's doomed to die.
Right, yeah, like, well, yeah, lesser of two evils, right? Like, oh, it's because of this, but it also makes sense with some of the other stuff, like your parents hiring a mage and a fighter to train you in this, the ways of combat. It kind of, with that, it would have been a thought of like, well, maybe your parents, they knew that this fate had been prescribed to you, but that didn't mean that you had to take it laying down. And so they financed this training so that maybe you would be able to learn how to defend yourself and find a way out of this circumstance that you were born into.
Yeah. Maybe I'll be the one to slay your great-great-great-grandfather. Just walks in, gets incinerated on the first go. Oh, Lily's dead.
Like, well, that was fun.
Sacrifice done.
Yeah, sacrifice dead. Oh, wow, look at that. 5 minutes in.
But yeah, if you guys do make it to Skorvendir, and I am very much looking forward to that.
You're gonna need a new dragon.
there is. I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's either going to be a fantastic roleplay session or it's going to be
Hell of a fight.
hell of a fight.
It is. It's gonna be interesting. I just imagine Smog the whole time.
Essentially, that's a pretty good frame of reference, for the dragon. Smog is a good reference point.
He's just gonna walk around by teeth cards, spears, talons, swords, stomping around.
Where
Where are you?
are you? I can't see you, but I can smell you're there.
Arthur, tell him. Arthur's up there. No, no. I just imagine Arthur's like, gotcha, bitch. Get her. Sacrifice.
Like, well, the bad thing is if like we get into combat with him, like I'm essentially useless because I'm mostly fire spells.
Well, you're also the greatest because you're just the least damaged by fire.
Yeah, you are.
It's stalemate, pretty much. They'll just be breathing fire at each other and just be like, well, this is getting boring. I guess you are my grandson. How's the world been? How's the girls been? You're just both sitting there, just chilling out in this pile of gold, just yakking it up.
Smoking some hash.
Yeah, smoking some hash. Everybody else's burnt corpse littered around you.
Grandpa, I really like these people, and you had to go and kill them.
It's like, man, it's Wednesday's just, sobering up, man.
Mondays, am I right?
Yeah. It's been a long week. I'm ready for Friday. Like, it's Tuesday. What? Oh, shit.
My current girlfriend, man, she just broke up with me yesterday, all that. God damn it, grandfather, you don't need to tell me about your sexual relationships.
I already know about them.
Do we have any last minute questions?
Last minute questions. We're getting ready to wrap up the stream because it's past 11. That's mountain time. So for Ryan, it's past 1 o'clock in the morning right now.
I don't mind, but I got a question for Jake.
Ooh, I love questions. Go ahead.
You don't have to reveal anything, but I would just like to know if Nanark is alive or dead.
Nanark is most certainly alive at this point.
In Valhalla.
Yeah, alive in our hearts and in our minds. Always.
He's alive, serving Odin in Valhalla.
Tragically, he did die 2 days after you left him.
Somewhere in the world, fucking Melody sheds a tear.
It just seemed like the soul drained from his eyes. He told the catatonic state as soon as Arthur appeared. It's like the soul left his body or something. He just became I don't know. He just laid down one day and never got back up.
You will be pleased to know that his last word I should say, was Fisk.
he pulled the person in close and just say Fisk.
Die.
Oh,
like, I have no idea why he said that to me. He was sitting in the tavern eating a bowl of stew.
I guess that kind of raises a point. It has been a while since Melody has left the party. And I was wondering if you were going to go through with that book she was writing. Glee was writing.
Maybe I already have.
Maybe.
Have you been looking at bookshops trying to, find new literature available?
No. Ziok did. I go to a library recently.
A library in Dark Pine Vale. Not a
Yeah,
bookshop in Tatern. Which, as we established, those two places are hundreds of miles away from each other.
Right. Fair enough. Never give me the good answers.
Melody has a book out there somewhere, but you have to remember, they don't have printing presses. Like, any book that you see is a book that someone has transcribed by hand, and that's a very laborious effort. And I can attest to that, because I've done that shit myself. It's
I
not
made this whole
cool.
campaign.
Well, no, that's typing. Like, I literally, my Avatar game,
Oh.
I wrote all of the rules, all of the feats, all of the bending forms, all of the monsters or the creatures available. Like, I wrote all of that shit by hand in a book that I have, and that's my book for the game. And holy fuck, that took so goddamn long. And personally I can attest it's not an easy feat to transcribe a book by hand. That is, oh my god. So there's a copy of your book out there somewhere. There might only be one copy, though. There might be more than one.
Nice.
It might take a while for someone to find it, and they will probably have to be looking for it before they find it.
Well, Sailor doesn't know Melody, so.
What's the title of Melody's book?
That's a good question.
What's it about?
It's about Company 1 3/4 and
There's the name. Company 1 3/4.
their adventures into knighthood.
Adventures into Knighthood.
Uh,
That's the subtitle.
okay.
Title, Company 1 3/4, subtitle, An Adventure into Knighthood.
Fair enough. Like it.
That's the book that no one has read. It's on sale right now for 2 silver.
Nice.
It's
Really raking in the money now.
It's winning the Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, I got a Newbery medal.
Yeah,
Fuck off.
It's,
That book is.
Nordia Times rates it the best book currently.
Yeah, it's a #1 Nordian bestseller.
Oprah's Book Club.
Yeah,
Nordian Times bestseller.
Titus's bestseller.
yeah.
The only book Titus sells.
Yeah.
It's his bestseller. Oh god.
Let's see.
You two don't know Titus, unfortunately, I don't think.
Ryan might know Titus.
I met Titus with Nanar, the little gnome shopkeeper.
Yeah. You didn't know him
Yes.
while he was still crazy, though.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. He was so much fun when he was crazy. And then Jake forgot his voice.
No. Then you restored his sanity.
His voice changed.
Yeah, because you restored his sanity.
Damn it, why did we do that?
His entire personality changed because he wasn't insane anymore.
Is that why you guys went to the Muzzin Moor?
Yes!
Yes, actually.
That is. That's the original reason they went to the Muzzin Moor.
Because that's where Nanark met you guys.
Yep.
Dude, why?
Oh my god, this cat. Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask last minute here?
Last minute.
No. I gotta go get my haircut and my trim.
Nice. I need to get a haircut. Tyler needs a trim.
No.
I got some eyelids to be looking at.
Nice, nice. Alright.
No.
Well, this has been a fantastic Off the Clock talk.
Off the clock talk.
Grab your friends and we'll take a walk. Get ready for another Off the Clock talk.
Betty, bye.
Alright.
All right, it's been fun. Thanks those of you who stuck around for sticking around. I realize it's probably been a bit of a trial. Hopefully it's been worth it. We've had a lot of fun. We hope you have too.
It was a good night.
It was a good night, and we'll be here next week for a great night.
Also, thinking about starting to do some streams with games during the weekdays.
We are thinking about doing some video game streams,
Yeah.
computer game streams, some sort of game streams that aren't tabletop RPG.
You know, just kind of fill in the gaps.
Fill in the gaps.
If you guys are interested. So,
fill in those gaps.
stay tuned, give us a follow, and until next time, check us out on YouTube.
This has been Studio 48, the show that asks the question. No, wait, don't stop. I'm almost done. Hold on.
Okay.
The show that asks the question. Do you smell that? Or was that just me?
Sorry.